Welcome once again, everybody. This is Racing to Real Estate. Coming up next, we got a great show for you. Racer and team owner David Gilliland joins us. We'll have a market update, and we'll also recap last weekend's race. Racing to Real Estate starts right now.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Racing to Real Estate. I am Josh Tucker. This is our co-host, John Roberts, and this is our guest for the day, David Gilliland. We are filming from the offices of Anchor Real Estate. This is brought to you by Duckworths. And John, let's jump right in here and talk a little bit about real estate.
Yes, because we have David here with us who we work together with in real estate, not just in racing. David, I hate to admit, though, how long ago it probably was that you first met me and Josh in the racing business.
Yeah, it was a while ago, but it's been a good relationship ever since.
19 or 20. So let's first of all, before we dig into the market and everything, since we got David here, you guys were kind enough to let us market your house, and we had a really good time marketing it because we took a different approach to it. But how was the whole process for you?
It was good. You know, our property that we were trying to sell was a unique piece of real estate and had its challenges. It was for sale with 3 other people, I think, prior. So, we got to work with Josh and you guys, Anchor Real Estate, and it was a really good experience, a good enough experience that we went ahead and bought our house with you guys too, our new house. So, selling that was difficult. Like I said, it's a very unique piece of property. I love it. There's not a whole lot to compare it to around and comps, and so it made it really, really unique. But you guys were able to sell it. And
we had Bo the horse as the star of the show. Bo the horse actually narrated the video for us.
Yeah, Bo and Taylor.
Taylor was great.
Yeah, my daughter, she loves horses, and fortunately we were able to find another place with pastures and a place to keep our horses. So the video, everything you guys did was first class, and definitely a big part of moving it.
Well, we watch the market every week, or of course every day. We take a look at the real estate market and see what's going on. And Josh, we've seen the same trend now, for 3 months in a row, 4 months in a row. The real estate market is going in the same direction, which requires us to take a little bit of a different approach.
Yeah. So actually for 4 months, September was the 4th month in a row that we've seen year over year sales decline. In September, it was over 7% that those sales decline. However, the average price continues to increase, 8.8% in August. I haven't seen the official number for September yet as far as that price increase, but so it's kind of a weird market where it's slowing sales-wise, and I think that due to the slowing of the market, that due to rising interest rates, that due to the cost of entry, it's kind of got buyers sitting on the sidelines a little bit, which is why we're seeing those year-over-year numbers slow monthly.
Yeah, and probably a better time, really, because of what's going on, if you are a buyer, maybe to act now. It was a seller's market for so long because of the lack of inventory, and now perhaps is the time with the interest rates changing the way they are. Maybe jump on it if you want to buy, because we have a lot of really good homes. There's somewhat of a lack of inventory right now. We have a lot of really good homes out there on the market.
We do, and I think that due to the strong buyer demand still and the lack of inventory, those unique homes like yours you mentioned, I think that we were able to help you find a buyer for your place relatively quickly within the first month or so of the listing. And I think that, with the pent-up amount of buyer demand that there is and the low inventory, that it causes those unique properties to really, buyers are kind of waiting in the weeds for them because they haven't been able to find them in so long, right? Yeah. So now they find them and they, sometimes sell really quickly. Which was obviously the case with your place.
So David, you're not only a racer but a businessman as well. So when the economy goes up and down, you guys feel it in the racing business, don't you?
Yeah, for sure. We have, I think we've had probably close to 15 plus drivers come through our program this year. So that's a lot of different families and sponsors and all that stuff that you deal with that takes to go racing at the level we provide. So definitely you can feel it, but we've been very fortunate, and we have a great group of customers, and we're excited about next year, and we've already announced some of the plans for next year, but working on a lot more that we're excited to announce here shortly.
That's really cool. So you're obviously have I don't want to say transitioned from driver to owner. You still do some driving, which is pretty cool.
Got the pole at Talladega.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, I don't know if you have plans for doing any more cup racing at all or not, but you know, it looks like you're still having some fun doing some truck racing, which is really cool. But your weekends, man, I mean, I'm sure they get rather crazy with a little bit of driving that you do, and then all the 15 different drivers. And I think we were talking before the show started. You said you guys have done close to 90 races this year or something like that. So, you know, John and I don't know, you know, John's weekends, you know, it can get a little busy with the TV stuff. You know, my weekends, for the most part, can be fairly mellow. I still try to go to a handful of NASCAR races, and obviously on the real estate side, I spend time showing people houses and stuff. But I imagine your weekends can get pretty hectic sometimes. Huh?
Yeah, it's really busy. You know, we race this year. We've raced in the K&N series, the ARCA series, and the truck schedule. So we didn't even have a truck team in January 15th, and you know, we bought Red Horse Racing, DJR Crosley, Bo Lamastis, and I, and you know, when we bought Red Horse, our plan was to run 7 truck races, and now we've ran one truck, the full schedule, and a second truck. I think it'll end up being about 10 times at the end of the year. So it got really busy really quick. We finished first and second in the K&N series in the owner standings. We won the K&N Drivers Championship with Tyler
That's
Ankrum.
huge.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a big deal. So my son won the K&N Championship the 2 years before that, and we were heavily involved with that. So we have a lot of champion trophies, and I'm this owners championship. That trophy is obviously very, very special, and it's Bo and I's first championship together as a team, and Tyler Ankrum through that program in our K&N series and being the champion. He's going to make his truck series debut this weekend at Martinsville. So I'm really, really excited about that. And that's with DJR Crosley. We want it to be different. We want it to be a home for these kids and a true driver development program that we can work and provide them a place to not only run the K&N series and run for a championship, but you know, provide them with the tools that they need while they're running that to be able to take that next step and be and have success, you know, right away. And so we're excited about working with Tyler. Him and his family have been great to work with, and so it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, we love around here. We love when we can come up with something unique and something also that has to do with marketing, because marketing, of course, is part of the business. I thought, Josh, this was so cool. Back at Talladega, you had a chance, first of all, to race with your son, Todd, which is absolutely as cool as can be to have a father.
Not too many people can claim that they've been able to do that.
That's huge, but also with the pedigree sponsorship, with the dog food. David had the adult formula. Todd had the puppy formula, and then they went out and they rested. They adopted or bought a puppy, a golden retriever puppy.
Yeah.
But that was one of the neatest things, and I think it's something we need in our sport. First of all, we need to keep the family thing alive. Racing is a family affair, and it always has been. But it's also been a source of creativity. It's been a source of marketing, and then you get down at the end of it, you get down to the pure competition of it.
Yeah, it is. You know, family is what got me into racing. My dad was a K&N champion. It used to be called Winston West out on the West Coast, and that's how I got my start. And then, you know, and then Todd wanting to race, and then, you know, obviously I raced, and then Todd wanting to race. So it's definitely in our family for sure. And you know, my dad won a championship as an owner driver. Todd's won 2 championships in the K&N series as a driver, and now we've won a championship as an owner. So it's something I'm very proud of, and the Mars family has been just incredible. They've been incredible to our family over the years, and gave me the opportunity to run in the Cup Series and get my start. And those, you know, I've ran Cup races with pedigree on my car, and now to come back and you know, develop that relationship and kind of pass it on with Todd, and they helped him last year in the Truck Series, and then this year they signed on to be a primary sponsor of his for multiple races, and then Talladega, that was kind of, I ran the pedigree truck at Daytona because Todd wasn't old enough, so that's how I got to race that, and we had a shot at winning that race, and got tangled up there towards the end, but then to be able to come back to Talladega, like you said, and run a truck that was similar. First they said it was going to be old dog and puppy. I said no. We'll just have a dog, a dog and a puppy. And so But anyway, yeah, it was awesome. And then we got to work with the Todd and I went and did an appearance at the Pedigree Foundation at the Birmingham Humane Society, and went through and they were adopting. The month before, they had adopted about 29 animals, and that single day that we were there and the Pedigree Foundation was there and put on that event, I think they adopted over 105 or something animals. So
Wow.
What a day! What an incredible day and a special day. My wife and daughter Taylor got to go, and Todd was there obviously, and we fell in love with little Winston, and so we adopted him, and then we ended up getting the pole, and it worked out perfect.
And I have to know this. So I've known you for years, and part of the process of being able to help you guys sell Dogleg Road and then help you guys buy your new farm in Rowan County. Through that process, I got to know your family a lot better. I didn't really know your wife Michelle and daughter Taylor real well. I met Todd a time or two, but man, just being able to work with them and get to know them, really, I enjoyed that part of it a lot, and they're great people, and also got to know the Bandit. Bandit the dog.
Yeah.
So my question is how is Bandit now getting along with Winston?
Yeah, that's funny because, like you said, Bandit very well, and when we were there, we were talking about adopting the puppy, and we're like, oh, how do you think Bandit will be? Oh, he'll be fine. Well, then we went through the weekend, and we didn't. He drove home with Mike Hillman Jr.
Okay. Yep.
And he brought him home because we flew, and he was about 20 minutes away. I was supposed to go meet him at a Dollar General down the road, and I looked at Michelle and I said, man, it's kind of real. I really hope Bandit don't try and eat this poor little guy.
Yeah.
And so he got home and he's warming up. It's been a little over a week.
Bandit's used to being the center of attention.
Oh yeah, for sure.
He's a sweetheart of a doggy, though. We're crazy dog lovers, all of us.
Yeah, he's good, but they're getting along good. They're, like I said, every day it's a little bit better. They're small steps, but they get along. They get along. But hopefully, they'll grow up to be best buds.
Right.
I don't think there's ever been any time really in in American history, in a history of a sport, where all the news has been good, and you can either choose to accentuate the bad news or look at the good news and see how you can make that spread. And what a great example, David, your team is right now of the good side of racing. We hear so much about people failing as a business model in racing, but that's not the whole story. There are people like you and your team that are actually succeeding, expanding, and surviving.
Yeah, we I've had David Gilliland racing for probably 5 years or so, and racing's all I've ever done. When I was in California before I moved out here, I raced a lot, but for a long time I had my own business selling and building race cars, and that's kind of how I was able to race and have the tools I needed to work on my cars. I had to help offset the costs. So it's all I've ever done. I enjoy it, and we just work really hard to provide the best product that we can, and to really try and develop these kids. There's in racing, I love racing. It's all I've ever done. It's all I really want to do. But you guys know there's a lot of people in racing that come and go that aren't quite as honest as they could be and should be. And so, our brand keeps growing, our reputation is worth a lot and valuable to us and our partners. Toyota's been a great supporter of DGR for many years, and as we grow into the truck series and hopefully beyond, they've been on board and huge supporters, and really have helped to take these next steps as quickly as we have. But yeah, right now, knock on wood, we're excited and very, very fortunate of where DGR Crosley is today and where we see it going.
Yeah, it's a marathon, not a sprint, and those who sprint do not finish the race.
That's right.
That's right. And talk about growing. So your team obviously expanding. We had talked a little bit before starting the show that you guys are continuing on with your truck deal next year. You've got some more K&N stuff happening, and you're going to run some late models. I think you said in the Cars Tour. So that's really exciting. What's the plan there? Is it going to be with a mixture of different drivers in them late models, or is it the same driver all year going for championships, or what's the goal there?
Yeah. So
not don't know yet.
Yeah. No, we do know that part of it. So DGR Crosley, currently we're in about 24,000 square feet, and we just finalized the lease on the building next door is another 30,000 square feet.
Nice.
So we're going to be expanding into about 50,000 plus square feet to be able to do this. A lot of people say, man, we know how much one team takes, and you get all these teams together. But, the way I look at it is having multiple teams. Our late model team and guys can draw and pull from our truck guys like Bono Mannion and Chris Lawson and our K&N championship crew chief Seth Smith. Those guys, our K&N team our late model team can pull from those guys and get better. And I think that's where the value is in having it under the same roof. But our late model guys that we have a kid named Drew Dollar who is a Legends car racer that does a really good job. He's out of Georgia, and
I like the name.
Yeah, he does a really good job. We've tested with him twice now, and he does a phenomenal job. And we're using that late model to get him ready for the K&N series, and then also we have a kid Taylor Gray, and we signed his brother Tanner Gray too, who's leading the pro stock NHRA points right now, and he's transitioning over to the circle track racing, and so that's been a big deal.
Oh, I bet.
Just because he's young and in drag racing, it just nobody really saw that coming. But his heart is in circle track racing. He's ran some super late models a handful of times and does a really good job. He's got the passion to do it for sure and the drive, and so he's going to be running our K&N team full time, and then his brother is going to be racing our late model. And the goal is both late model kids. The goal is for them to run full time K&N in 2020. So what it does is having that late model team helps us develop those kids and work with them into figuring out what their weaknesses are and what we need to work on, so that when they make that transition to the K&N series, they can make a big splash and go out there and compete for a championship.
Yeah, and then you're really building this racing team as a stepping stone, right? So you got you're starting now in late models where a 15, 16-year-old
13. Taylor's 13.
So 13 years old, he can join DGR Crossley, be a late model driver, kind of get to learn the ropes a little bit, understand the process, go through a couple of years of short track late model racing, then jump up into K&N, hopefully then trucks. Looking down the road 3 to 5 years from now, DGR Crossley, what do you think it looks like? Does it go beyond trucks? Is there ever a goal for you
and
and
I think
your
it
business
does.
partner to do something bigger?
Yeah, for sure. I think it does. But to do that properly, you have to have the right relationships in place. Just like starting our truck team, we didn't just decide to go racing and start a truck team. We had been a Toyota late model team for multiple years, and being fed by Toyota with development drivers and working with Toyota, and then on the K&N side with Todd Racing, and we had a big relationship with BMR, Bill McAnally, out on the West Coast that Todd drove for. We built a lot of those cars out here and then shipped them out west, and we went and were heavily involved, and all the East races were actually run out of DGR out here. And so it's those relationships over time that
allow you to kind of make
that
those
allow us to do that. Yeah.
But that's something that down the road that you guys would be, hopefully looking towards.
Absolutely, yeah. Obviously Gibbs is kind of our benchmark of where we'd like to be one day, and so we're working on strengthening our relationship with Gibbs on many levels, and I think you get enough of those type of deals in place, and then that makes taking that next step. Buying the cars and the engines and all that stuff's the easy part. Honestly, right. It's having the right people in place to be able to help you do that. And right now we're super fortunate. We have some key people that are going to come to work here probably within the next month that are really going to help take us to the next level.
How many people do you employ?
I think right now it's about 26 people.
Wow.
But I see us at least probably 40 for next year. So, It's a lot. It's
a big operation.
It's a big growth. So,
Yeah.
and then we're moving next door, so that'll be our third move in 2 years. So,
Wow.
it's I own a building in Talbot Point, and I leased that out, and we moved to the Red Horse buildings when we bought that, just because it was easier, and from a time perspective, everything was already there and kind of set up. But then now expanding, we're out of room, and so. We're gonna move next door. I think we have, close to 50 vehicles or race vehicles in our shop right now, at least. So it fills up quick.
Well, I know we got to step away and take a quick break here in just a minute, but before we do, and before we kind of transition away from you and your racing and the real estate stuff we've helped you with, I want to tell one quick story and then ask you a quick question. So. Obviously, the weekend we closed on both of your properties the same day. So, kind of a stressful time. You're out of town. I think you guys are racing in Dover, and so Michelle has power of attorney for you, and I'm with her in the attorney's office, and we're signing everything. And I noticed she's constantly picking her phone up and looking at it. And I'm assuming, is she checking practice times? Is she really? Because I know she's involved in the race team as well. She works there with you guys and does all your travel. And then in the middle of the closing, she shouts out and she says, "Oh my gosh, we're having a baby!" and I'm thinking, "Whoa, what's going on?" But
shouldn't she know that?
So it turns out one of Taylor's miniature horses or ponies has the baby Lily.
Yep.
So really cool story. It was neat to see her watching that on the phone as all this was taking place. So I want to know, how is Lily doing? Is she adjusting to her new home?
Yeah.
Is
Rod Stewart the father?
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a long story.
Yeah, that's a long story, but yes. But yeah, Lily's doing good. So we had a Nest camera up in the barn, and Taylor wanted Trixie is the mini pony's name. Wanted Trixie to have that baby at our old house so bad, and like you said, you guys, Michelle was closing on the papers and all the stuff, doing the work of her and I, because I was out of town, and that's what she said. She said, "Josh, but I think I'm crazy." About, I don't know, it was close to the end. She said once she saw that she had the baby, that her mind was definitely elsewhere. But Lily is doing awesome. She's adorable. She don't even look real. Like and to pet her and stuff, it's good. So
guess that makes her a one Trixie pony.
Yep, exactly. So that's Lily's a memory that we're going to keep forever from our old house there on Dogleg Road, and super special to Taylor and our whole family.
And the timing couldn't have been better.
Yeah, the timing.
Literally,
she made it, but with a couple hours to spare.
Signing the paperwork, over to the new owner, and they're getting ready to take possession, and Lily is born there at the old place. So really cool. All right, well, John, David, we got to step away for a quick break. Let's take 30 seconds and hear from our sponsor, Duckworths, and we will be right back.
Duckworths Grill and Tap House is your neighborhood restaurant. Good food, good friends, a huge selection of craft beers on tap, not to mention the weekly and daily food specials. 5 locations in the Charlotte metro area. Make sure to go down and check out your local Duckworths. And thanks once again to Duckworths for sponsoring Racing 2 Real Estate. Back again with Josh Tucker and David Gilliland. David, I'm sure these days, I know you're really busy on weekends doing your own thing, but as a former Cup driver yourself, looking back at it, what do you feel like this season's been like competition-wise, and how these elimination races have played out?
It's exciting for sure. The stages, when they first went to it, just kind of being not used to it and just different than anything I'd ever done. I had my reservations, but I think it's exciting, watching it. I mean, you don't even know till the last lap, and so many things can change. This person's in, this person's out, and they have a bad pit stop or they speed on pit road. I mean, it really puts a lot of emphasis on every single thing that happens throughout the race that is important. It's not just important in those races, it's important in every race, and just really makes you look back and reflect on the whole season on how important all that stuff was. But I enjoy watching it. Todd and I watch him a lot, and obviously that's where he wants to end up, is in the Cup Series one day, and so we watch it, and yesterday had us on the seat of our chair. Yeah,
and this is a great point in the season right now, because now we're down to 8 drivers. We know who the final 8 are, and we're going to Martinsville. which is one of my favorite tracks. I like it, first of all, because it's close. We always get to go, but also it's a great short track. How'd you like Martinsville?
I liked it. It's a lot of fun. Obviously, it reminds me a lot of the tracks that we grew up racing on. Out on the West Coast, all up and down the West Coast. But it's a good track. It's tough. It's intense, especially in the Cup Series. When you go with the Truck Series or even the does Xfinity? I don't even. I raced there. I raced there in 2006. In the Busch Series back then, but and we've been there with the late model stuff with my son over the years. But in those races, they get spread out a little bit more. The competition is not quite so tight as in the Cup Series. A Cup race there, 500 miles, it's intense, man. It's amazing. I mean, it's so hard to pass. And either you're bumping somebody or you can't get out of the way of getting bumped. So it's always something in the restarts, and it's a lot of fun.
I'm looking forward to this weekend.
Yeah, Martinsville will be fun. Looking back a little bit at Kansas, obviously I don't know if you and Todd or just you had a chance to watch the race, but man, Chase Elliott, the guy's on fire. I mean,
at the right time.
I think I read a stat where it took him 99 starts to get his first win, which sounds like a lot, but truly probably isn't. There's a lot of drivers that don't even get a win.
A long time for a guy with that expectation.
Yeah. So 99 starts to get his first win, which was at the road course this summer, and now 11 races later, he's got 3.
Floodgates have opened.
Yeah, I mean, just crazy, and so really excited for him to win that race. That's 2 races in that round that he won, which I think made it more difficult and had some other drivers really on the edge of their seat during the race. I mean, I think during the race there were times Kurt Busch was out. There were times where Truex was out. So pretty exciting race, but overall pretty cool to see Chase Elliott get the victory.
What about the expectations on these young drivers, David?
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot for sure. A lot of pressure and all that. And like you said, Chase knew going into the Cup Series that he could win. Mm-hmm. It's just, it's hard to get that first win. I never did win in the Cup Series. I finished second a couple times and third, and we're close, but you never really did it. And I think there's a lot comes with confidence, and I've seen that with Todd and a lot of drivers that come through our program. Once they get that first win in whatever series it is, and you can do it. And when you're leading and Kyle Busch is closing in on you, and they're telling you he's, however 10th faster that lap than you, if you're in your mind, if you're thinking about, well, can I do this? Can I win? Or, you just won 2 of the last 11 races and you can. Hey, I just need to go up and block his air and kind of, just move my line around a little bit. I think that's where Chase is at right now, and it's good to see. It's exciting. I mean, I've watched him race, late models and K&N stuff and everything along the way, and like you said, pressure. Going back to pressure, he's at Hendrick Motorsports, and there's definitely a lot of pressure. But you see guys like that step up and take it and run with it, and it's good to see.
So I forget exactly who your Final 4 were, but I lost one of my Championship 4 drivers. I had Keselowski.
Yeah.
I had 2 Bushes, a Harvick, and a Keselowski in the Championship 4.
Yeah.
So I still got 3 left.
Yeah, I still got 3 left as well. I had the big 3 picked.
Okay,
and as
wise.
As my 4th, I had Denny Hamlin, and he went out way early. So I think we're tied up there. And talking about the 4, just quickly, what do you guys see? Do you guys see? I mean, there's been a lot of talk here recently. Is the big 3 still the big 3, right? And I think that really came into effect last week at Kansas when we seen Truex underneath the cut line for a lot during the first and second stage. Do you guys think that it's possible that we go to Homestead without the big 3, or maybe only 2 of the big 3?
Hey, man, the competition level, David, I mean, you experienced it firsthand.
Oh, yeah.
It's so tough. It's so tight.
And Harvick and Truex not winning yet in the playoffs. Yeah. So, I mean, is it possible that we, have, does a Chase Elliott and a, somebody else, maybe a Boyer? Boyer's really good at Martinsville. Does he come in and pull an upset at Martinsville, get a win?
Win and you're in.
And he's in.
Yeah.
And then, if somebody else outside of the big 3 wins at Texas or Phoenix, is it possible if the big 3 don't win in this next round that one of them, might be out. I mean,
Well, math tells us that only 3 could get in by wins.
Yeah.
yeah. So
What do you think, David?
Yeah, I mean it's tough. You see guys like even Eric Almirola, right now has done really good, and Chase Elliott, and you start doing that, and I figured Larson had going into it. I figured Larson in the Final Four myself.
I think a lot of people.
Yeah, and so now he's out. So it's. Things change. I think that's what makes the sport exciting.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of variables, and and everybody. The competition level is definitely closed up from where it was last year across the board, I think.
Yeah.
And so we'll see. I wouldn't count Harvick out though.
Yeah,
I don't. Definitely wouldn't count.
Never.
Talking about making it exciting with Larson, he did that yesterday. I mean,
absolutely.
From the back to the front.
From the back in a backup car.
Yep.
And he was up there on that wall just digging. And man, coming down, to the last 30 or 40 laps of that race, when he was taking chunks of, that lead out every lap, I thought, oh my gosh, man, would this just be spectacular to see him come and and I was wondering what he would do if he could get to Kyle's bumper or get to Chase's bumper. How much would he press that issue? And with both of them being locked in, I bet he would have pressed it pretty hard.
I think so. Yeah, you wreck anybody to get away from it. So I think we all know it. David, in the bigger picture, just to kind of take a right turn on the whole program here and everything, it's funny. A guy, a local business I frequent quite a bit, go in there the other day, and guy that works there, I've known him for years. We always talk about racing. He's a huge fan and everything. He goes, "So what do you think? We going to make it?" I go, "What do you mean, old buddy?" And he goes, "We can make it. Is NASCAR going to make it?" I said, "Make what?" And he goes, "NASCAR be around?" I said, "What are you yes. It's just, it's again, it's the negativity sometimes about things. It's the way you look at it. Now, I kind of always hate the old half empty, half full thing. But when you look at it, David, I mean, you guys are thriving as a business, but models change. Things change. Guys, NASCAR isn't going anywhere. It's one of the 4 major sports. We have peaks and valleys. But what do you see the future, David, as an owner, as a competitor? I mean, we hate to just bring up problems without solutions, but I think there are not problems. There's questions that need to be answered. What do you see in the future for the whole sport of racing?
Yeah, I mean, our business is wrapped around NASCAR, and right now, we're all in on NASCAR, and I would continue to bet with it. Like you said, everything has its ups and downs. The nice thing from the competitor side and even fans and stuff, they're removed from the NASCAR executives that are working hard every day. They're working right now to try and make it better. And 100% I know and feel like they are working every day as hard as they can to make it the best it can be. And so to me, that gives me comfort in knowing that Mike Helton cares as much today as he did 10 years ago when the sport was at its peak. So, I believe it'll get back there. On the ownership side, being on calls with NASCAR on rule changes and stuff that they're working on to try and make the racing better and try and make the sport better. It's encouraging to me to see their enthusiasm and how much work they put, time and effort they put into making things better. And so, I think if the effort's there and that's the direction they want to go, I have great confidence that it'll get there.
Yeah, 2 years ago, a perfect example, and we get to, because we're part of the media now. Josh, you're officially part of the media. And, when you look back a couple years ago, and it was a discussion, actually, you brought up Mike Helton's name. I had an opportunity to talk to Mike about it the day this happened. There was news throughout the week, 2 years ago before the Daytona 500, that Joe Gibbs Racing had extended with Federal Express. Roger Penske had extended with Shell Pennzoil. Okay, these are big companies that are not run by dummies. They're run by people who know they're, and they got big sponsorship extensions. So, guy from the Washington Post goes to Daytona, and he picks up a press release, and the press release says that the Daytona 500 the year before got this many viewers and had this many butts and seats. And this year it's down this much. Well, what he failed to continue to read was it was one of the very, very rare rain delayed races. So when you finally got to it, when it finally shifted, it wasn't in its normal position, but nobody bothered to say that. Nobody bothered to go back and say, oh yeah, because of this. All it was a negative story in the Washington Post that said NASCAR's on a decline, go get your cardboard box and move it under the bridge because we're all going to die.
Yeah.
And they didn't. So I was talking to Mike about that, and he said, yeah, it's really, really disappointing, but there's only a certain number of things we can do about it. And I think what we can do about it as people that are involved in the sport is continue to emphasize positive of this thing. We still, an NFL game sells out at 70 grand. You get 70 grand at a NASCAR race, it's like, oh my God, man, it didn't sell out. Let's again get the cardboard box. But I prefer not to look at it that way.
Yeah, no, for sure. NASCAR fans are incredible, and from a truck race to an Xfinity race to the Cup Series, I mean, they're the fans are very passionate, and there's, like you said, the sport is there's nothing else like it, in my opinion. That's why I love it. That's why I'm as involved as I am. It's, with my son, and I mean, he loves it, and it's definitely part of our family. And like you said, Mike Helton, Jim France, everybody that are working so hard to make it better, and
Smart guys.
Very, very, very smart. I think you got the right people on it.
So if there would be one thing, and I'll answer this question, then see what you guys think. If there would be one thing that you guys, either one of you, would be in favor of NASCAR changing, what would that one thing be? For me, it would be, we had Matt Tifft on last week, and he made a good point. He said, I don't think we need to be going to some of these racetracks 2 or 3 times a year, in the case of Charlotte, right? So for me, if there was one thing that I would immediately make a suggestion, if I could, right? If I could immediately make a suggestion, it would be, let's not go to these racetracks multiple times, and let's shorten our season up. I think that 39 weeks of racing in the Cup Series compared to 18 weeks of football games in the NFL, that's a big difference, and I think that not only would it help economically, with a lot of the team owners to reduce the schedule, I think it helps. It trickles all the way down to the employees, to the mechanics, the marketing people. So if there was one thing that I would make a vote on changing, it would be, let's shorten our schedule some. Let's go from 39, let's go to 24 races. Let's have an 18 race regular season and a 6-week playoff season or something like that. What's your guys' thoughts on that, or is there something else that you would see as a valuable change to the sport?
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be a really good idea. I think a lot of these markets, going to these autograph sessions, a lot of times people bring their ticket and they'll have you sign our ticket for going, and the price tag, it's expensive, and families, as things have changed over the last few years, people are holding on to their money a little bit more, and it's expensive, and so you got to start picking where you go to and what you do. And like you said, if you had fewer races, I think it'd be more exciting. It's not, they're not racing at Kansas one week and Chicago the next, and those are 2 awesome racetracks. And to race them as a race car driver, they drive differently. They're definitely different, but from watching it on TV,
it looks kind of similar.
They race very similar, and so I think some fans maybe get lost in that a little bit.
Yeah.
I think you're absolutely 100% right. Season's too long. It's got to shorten up. You got to start it when you start it, but end it earlier, so you're not going up against the NFL and Major League Baseball. Ticket prices need to come down. And also, when you go back, like just say, for example, we got a car dealership and we got 100 cars, 100 of the same cars on our lot. Well, if we have 20 of those cars, they're going to be worth more than the 100 on the car lot, just because of supply and demand. So if I'm sitting in a city and I'm a race fan and I got one race to go to, I'm going to be all in with that race. If I got 2 to go to, these days I'm not going. Now, one thing, I think those are the things. There's always a realm of what's in our control and what's out of our control, and a solution is usually found in the middle. So what is out of our control, a couple years back, the first time Bristol Night Race didn't sell out, Jeff Gordon put out on his Twitter account, if you went to Bristol last year and you didn't go this year, can you tell me why? 90% of the respondents said it was hotel gouging within Johnson City. Now, that's out of NASCAR's realm.
Yep.
And you can't really sit here and say, okay, you hotel guys, you're bad guys, because they got a business to run too, right? So they know I have a captive audience, because let's face it, guys, there ain't much else going on in Johnson City, Tennessee
Right.
to bring in people to fill hotels. So here's what I would do if I was from the marketing aspect of NASCAR. I would go to these people and say, look, I understand you're a businessman, and I understand I have absolutely no control over what you do. But do you want to see this thrive in the future, or do you want to get your paycheck right now? Can we work together?
Yeah.
Can we make packages? Can we try to work together with NASCAR and the surrounding community to get people excited? And you know what? I might get a nasty gram or two about this, and I hope I do. Drivers got to spend more time in these cities. The Winner's Circle program years ago, where the winner of a previous race went to a market, that's got to come back. I went on many a Winner's Circle thing with a driver, and it was cool the way people came there. And you know what? If you had some type of live TV presence outside the racetrack like Houston, that could bring fans back. There's a lot of things you can do. There's a lot of things out of your control, but there's a lot of things within your control.
Yeah, absolutely.
And sorry to get on the soapbox here, guys. I'm banging the table and getting all excited and everything, but I just believe in these things.
No, and you should, and I do too. We do got to take a quick break here in just a minute, but before we do, let's just quickly talk Xfinity Truck Series. Trucks were off last weekend. Guys go to Martinsville this coming weekend. I think from a playoff picture, you got, I believe it's Justin Haley and Crafton, both below the cut line. I think they go Martinsville, then they're off, right? They don't do Texas, and then they do Phoenix. Is that right?
No, we go to
Texas.
Go to Texas.
They're
Okay.
in for
we
now.
got- we got four in a row,
This is
four in a row.
starting the new round of 6, and it's Martinsville, Texas, Phoenix, with Haley and Crafton below the cut line. So big race there. Xfinity guys, really cool to see John Hunter Nemechek score his first victory in Xfinity. I thought that was pretty cool. Hemrick, dominant car and remains winless. Man, I think his win is coming.
Bright future.
And then a quick playoff picture on that one. You got Tift, Allgaier, Custer, and Cindric below the cut line. The big name there that I think below the cut line, Allgaier. A lot of people had him picked to win the championship. And now he finds himself a little below the cut line, so it should be an interesting couple of races for them. We got to step away, take a quick break here from our sponsor, Anchor Real Estate, and we'll be back with a clear to close. Anchor Real Estate is your boutique real estate company. Located in Mooresville, North Carolina, we emphasize personal relationships with cutting-edge marketing. Innovation through communication, we are Anchor Real Estate. Check us out at anchorre.com or follow us on social media.
All right, welcome back to Racing 2 Real Estate. Time now for our 3 favorite words in this business, clear to close. And I just want to throw something out there really quickly. In this day and age, some of the loyalty is going away, and the way people handle things is pretty important. I think if you have, like, just say, for instance, an employee that's been with you for a couple of decades, and things are changed, and I understand, how things change from now and again, but probably more than an email or a phone call, if you're terminating a 2-decade-long relationship, is something that you should consider as an employer. I understand you gotta change, and times change, but maybe something a little bit more than an email and a phone call to tell somebody a 2-decade-old relationship is over might be a little bit better.
Yeah. I mean, that's a perfectly legitimate rant. I got let go from a couple of race teams throughout my career, where I'd only been there for a year or two, and I got let go through an email or from somebody that I'd never met that claimed to be NPR or something.
I found out on J-Ski one time I lost a ride.
Wow.
That was how I found out.
Wrong.
Yeah. So
all kinds of ways to hear. So just real quickly, clear to close. For me, November 3rd is a Saturday. We got an event coming up. It's called Russ to Riches Cruisin'. It's going to honor the life of Jeff Arnold, who many people in the Lake Norman area knew very well. Jeff, a big car guy, lost his life early, unexpectedly, a couple weeks ago. So he owned a company called Our Dream Auto here in Mooresville. They restore old cars. So in honor of him, doing a big cruise in on November the 3rd in the Lakeside Business Park here in Mooresville. There'll be a 50-50 raffle as well. All the benefits from that will be go towards Lake Norman Humane. So really cool about that. And mentioning Lake Norman Humane, obviously November 7th, I've mentioned it on the show the last few weeks, is our People Helping Pets event at Langtree Plantation. That's November 7th, Tuesday evening, starts at 6 p.m. Tickets are $50 a person. That will be a really good time. Halloween next Wednesday. John, I don't know if you got your costume yet. If you don't, you better go out and get one because we're going to go trick-or-treating. David, man, we appreciate having you on the show. Helping you with the real estate stuff was a blast. Getting to know your family well was a blast. You're a stand-up guy. I love everything you're doing with your race team, and thanks for being on the show.
Thanks, dude. Yep. Thank you guys.
That's it, folks. Racing to real estate's a wrap.